Mackelson, who is going to explain us the project in Szczecinek. The floor is yours, Maciej.
It's now in Szczecinek. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. I will start my presentation. So my name is Maciej Makselon. I'm representing the city of Szczecinek in Poland, northwestern part of Poland. And as you mentioned, I will tell you a little bit about our vision and, in fact, implementation of set of measures which are aiming in increasing the safety, especially around schools. Now here you can see some facts about background in our city of Szczecinek. There's a traffic prognosis which indicate that until 2015 road traffic intensity will rise twofold. Szczecinek is located on a very heavy traffic road connecting south and north of the country, and this intensive flow of heavy-duty vehicles and tourists going to the Baltic coast, especially in the summer season, is causing a lot of traffic in Szczecinek and also around schools. That's why we have analyzed and identified that there is urgent need to increase the pedestrians' safety and road traffic safety, which can be reached by installation of some safety facilities. We have set at the beginning of Renaissance project few challenges. High-level challenge was to ensure the road traffic and pedestrian safety. At the strategic level, we decided to develop safe and secure road infrastructure by implementation of different hard measures like signaling, illumination of pedestrian crossing, and dialogue displays. Those all safety facilities were installed in direct proximity to schools in Szczecinek. At the measure level, we're targeting to decrease number of road accidents as well as increase the road traffic safety. Going to implementation, you can see there is a mixture of hard measures and soft measures. Hard measure meaning, in this meaning, we are talking about these safety facilities like signaling of the pedestrian crossings. You can see it on the right-hand picture. We are also talking about illumination of pedestrian crossings. As we are in the central eastern part of Europe, unfortunately, the winter and autumn time is more or less 7 months in a year, and it's getting dark very early. That's why illuminating the pedestrian crossings, and especially illuminating pedestrian crossings around schools, is a very important issue here, and it makes really good results. And the drivers, both drivers and pedestrians, are accepting this measure very high. We have also installed 3 dialogue displays at 2 pedestrian crossings. You can see this picture in the further slides, but I will tell you a little bit more about this. This dialogue display is showing 2 messages, and it's measuring speed of incoming car. When the driver is over speeding, the message shows slow down, and if the driver slows down, really, it shows thank you. If not, the display is still measuring, and if he's not slowing down, the message slow down is remaining displayed at this dialogue display. We have also implemented traffic surveillance system of our main intersections, and it is also those traffic surveillance system is installed at the main intersections around the schools. So these were 4 hard measures implemented in 3 sub-measures, and we have also decided to provide some soft actions like Safe Way to School campaign to a number of schools in Szczecinek, and some measures promoting cycling for children also is coming to and back from the school in Szczecinek. So this is a mixture of measures that we have implemented within 4 years of participation in Renaissance project, CIVITAS Renaissance project. What were the results? By the way, on the right-hand side you can see this dialog display, now showing green message "thank you" in Polish, of course. And on the right-hand side picture you can see one of the very successful events, Safe Way to School, and also promoting cycling in the main square of our city. What were the results? Safe school surrounding created. We have recorded no accidents of road collisions. By the way, we did not record a lot of accidents and road collisions in those surroundings before Renaissance, but we are acting in a kind of advance. We are trying to anticipate this issue. More and more cars will be used in Szczecinek. That's why we want to act in this very moment to make these school surroundings as safe as possible. Then you can see that we have achieved a high acceptance of implemented measures. This is an opinion of both drivers and pedestrians. I have summarized this. Illumination of pedestrians crossing has 82.30% of acceptance. Signaling of pedestrian crossing, this is a very high acceptance, almost 90%. And dialog displays, you can see 85%. And Safe Way to School was launched for the very first time in Szczecinek during Renaissance, and this is already decided to be continued. What are the conclusions? First of all, in my opinion, and also I'm sharing the opinion of decision makers of our city, safety of the school children has the highest priority for us, and we are doing a lot, as you could see during my presentation, to reach this target. I also think, and in my opinion, the synergy effect is something that can be followed up by the other cities. Synergy effect which can be achieved by combination of hard measures and installing safety facilities and soft measures like those campaigns Safe Way to School. And last but not least, of course, increasing safety around schools is a process that must be continued. We cannot stop at this moment. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it was interesting. If you have any questions, ask right now, or you can also see my email address and you can send me your questions. I will answer it if possible. Thank you very much. Any questions right now? Or Sarah? Okay.
Hello, this is Csaba Mezei speaking from the Civitas Secretariat. It seems that Sarah is somehow out of the picture for the moment. I can see one question from Saulius. He's asking, Maciej, why don't you have not installed any speed bumps?
Any speed, what?
Speed bumps.
Speed box?
Bumps.
Oh, like this. Yes, I know what you mean. Well, we have installed one of the speed bump in Szczecinek, and it's out of the Renaissance programming. We wanted to try this solutions, this installation, but I agree that speed bump is a very successful and very good, well-working facility to increase safety and what's the most important, to limit the speed of drivers. This was what we chosen to implement in CIVITAS, but I would absolutely agree to continue also by implementing speed bump.
All right, there is, I can see a...
Can you all hear me?
Sorry?
My name is Björn Abelsson
from
from the City School. And I would comment on the same issue about you had a very high acceptance of your measures. What do you think would have been the reaction from the car drivers if you had used some harsher measures? I mean, it's quite nice just to illuminate the crossings and this dialogue display. You don't force the drivers to do anything special. If you had used, for instance, speed humps or any other kind of measures to control speed, would you have the same high level of acceptance?
First of all, I cannot hear you very well, but if I understood the question right, I don't think so. If we would use proposed by you solution, that we would have the same high acceptance if we would measure the speed of the drivers. This is what we were asking.
Yes, I got
yes.
that one.
Yes, so in this way, I would guess that the drivers wouldn't be so happy and would not accept implemented. If we would measure their speed and fine them with some fines.
Okay. We have another question from Donald McDonald, who asks, how many schools were involved in your city?
Well, we have installed what was I presenting was, let me count, 7 schools, at 7 different schools, part of those things that I was presenting, some safety facilities were installed, but we have engaged all the schools in Szczecinek in some kind of discussion, on which discussion we were talking and in identifying what are the most dangerous areas around school. So we have engaged all the schools in Szczecinek, some parents committees of the schools to have a kind of good discussion. But talking about numbers, 7 different schools were touched like this, where some of the safety facilities were installed at 7 different schools.
Okay, thank you. Does someone else have a question for Maciej?
If not, I would like to just thank you for this presentation. I would like to send my best regards to Anna and Katerina, which I can see that are on the attendee list. These are good friends from Renaissance.
Okay. Yeah. In the meanwhile, we have some more questions coming in. I think we can still do one. Someone asks, Maciej, don't you think that digital displays work in opposite and distract the attention of the drivers?
No, because this is not something that we are testing. This is a solution that is being used in Europe, that is being used in Germany for example. And there are some research, there was research conducted on this. It's not distracting. It's not a very complicated message. It's just a message, slow down and thank you. A very simple one. It's not distracting the drivers. We have proofs in research that was being made by the deliverer of the supplier of this solution.
Okay. And someone else asks, is there any other city who applied this project and who was inspired by your city? So do you know if your experience has been transferred to another city?
No, I don't know about this issue, nothing yet, but I hope that using this opportunity, the webinar session, some of the cities can be inspired.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Let's hope so. Okay, then we will move on to our next speaker. If you have any other questions for Maciej, you can still type them in the box, and Maciej will answer them. Now, unfortunately, Katarina Oktapkova from Ustinat Laben has not been able to join yet because of internet problems. So next in line is Sabine van Manker from the city of Ghent in Belgium. And as I said, they worked with teenagers in secondary schools. So I'm sure that this was a very, let's say, challenging target group to work with. Sabine, the floor is yours. If you can open your PowerPoint.
I'm trying to open it. I click on the screen, but well, it's standing on my screen, but now.
Can you click on the PowerPoint drawing at the bottom of your screen?
At the bottom of my screen, yes.
Yeah, over there.
Yes, I have it.
Okay, yeah. That's it. And
then, should put it on full screen?
Yeah, click on diavoorstelling.
Diavoorstelling, yes.
Ja, vanaf begin.
Vanaf begin,
okay,
yes.
There we go.
Okay, okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sabine van Lanker, and I am the school coach of the city of Ghent in Belgium since the 1st of September 2011. I did a project with teenagers in the city of Ghent. Before this CIVITAS project, we only worked with minor pupils, a primary school. And we made travel plans for these schools, but with the CIVITAS program we wanted to work with another target group with secondary pupils. So this is pupils from 12 to 18 years old. This is the starting point, so our objective was to work with secondary schools, and we did this for 3 years. The first 2 years these schools were coached by the consultancy bureau Mobile 21, and last school year I did it myself. Next one. We followed a structure, the same structure in all of these schools, so we made an action plan. First of all, we had a kickoff meeting in every school. So I went to the school and I had a meeting with one class or with some students of every class who made a group. And I explained to them what was CIVITAS, what were the objectives, and what was expected from them, and all the things I could give to the school. Then it was followed by 2 to 4 follow-up meetings. Which I also coached. So I went to the school and we did a brainstorm together with the students and we also counted how students came to school, so we did a modal split. And then from this brainstorm we looked if there were some items that were important to work around. So then the students made a mobility campaign about one of these items, and finally, the whole project was followed by an evaluation. And this whole action plan took place from October to March, April. The data collection was very important in this project. So the students were asked by me to make a modal split of their school. So they had to count how the students came to school, on foot, by car, by bus, by bike. They also had to make a survey on sustainable mobility. This was a kind of questionnaire which was given to all the students of the schools, in which they were asked, for example, do you have a moped? Are you going to buy a car when you're 18? And things like that. Do you know what sustainable mobility is? Things like that. And thirdly, a third way of data collection was the evaluation of the campaign. So we, according to the Max Sumo method, we made an evaluation, and all the questions were made by me, and I gave them to the students, and they had to arrange that all students answered. So this data collection was something that the students knew from in the beginning, that they had to do this kind of homework. So the overall result of the 3 years of CIVITAS Elan working with secondary schools, we worked with 16 schools in these 3 years. 205 pupils were in fact initiating the campaign, but they reached more than 6,000 pupils of their schools. On the pictures you see one school where they did a dance in the street on a song about safe traffic in the road, and all the pupils of the whole school were involved. Which are the indicators for success in secondary schools? For me, it was also the first time I worked with secondary schools. Before, I always have worked with primary schools, and it's not that easy to work with teenagers. We all know that. So things I found very important is that I collected information before, so that I knew what the background was of the pupils. You can do this by having a meeting with the teacher before you go to the class. You can also look at the website of the school. So it's very important to know what level they have. Are there a lot of different languages in the school? What cultures are there in the schools? This is very important to know before you go to your meeting. Also, it is important to know what disciplines there are in a school, because you can use these different disciplines. Some schools were technical schools I worked with, and in these schools you have possibilities, like for example a school where they give where they have the carpentry, for example. You can use this skill, and you can make them enthusiastic to use their skills they are learning at school. But if you don't know this before, then you can't use this information. Then there are also some indicators for success to the headmaster and the teachers. The school should know what the benefit is for their school, because schools are asked to attend lots of projects. So why should they do this project? So that you should stress the benefit for the school. In Belgium, it is like this, that the Flemish government obliges every school to have a school travel plan. So this is one benefit I can stress, of course. But also that they have, for example, they don't have costs for this project. That if they need some money, they can get some money. They could get 500 euros for costs in the project. So this is also a benefit for the school. It's also important to provide backup for the teachers. Teachers of teenagers, it's not a very easy job these days. So if they get some backup from me, they really appreciate that. So I had a regular contact with the teachers by email, and they really appreciated that. What is also important is to make very good agreements in advance, so that the school knows what is expected from them, and that they know what they can expect from me, so that there are no surprises on the way. So they should know from the beginning that they have to make a modal split, that they have to do a survey, and that they have to do an evaluation in order to get all your information. And you have to say this all in the first meeting with the school. We used some triggers to make schools participate. We did a contest between the schools. so they could win substantial prize money. The first school won 2,500 euros, the second one 1,500, and the third one 1,000 euros. So this was something they of course, they really liked. And also media attention is also a trigger. So I tried the students to make themselves take contact with the media, but I also helped a bit because I know, of course, which way to go to get newspaper or television attention. On the pictures you see in the above one is a school, a hotel school, and they made a campaign about, they had some problems with old people on the bus. This was one of their items they didn't like, and to solve this we had a debate between these students and older people. They also made a poster campaign, and finally they made a film about old people and young people on the bus, and it was a bit of a humoristic film where old people do things that are not expected from them. So in fact they do the things that young people now do on the bus. So this was very funny, and they liked it very much, and I think that they understand each other now much better. And the other picture shows a school where they do carpentry, and there they made these big policemen in wood and police car in wood to solve a problem of too many students on the bicycle lane. Then the key indicators for success to the students. What is important when you go to students to 12 to 18 years old, it's important to try to a tailor-made approach. So this is why you need the information about the students and the school and the directions you can follow in the school, so that you can fit it specifically to these students. What is also important is a peer-to-peer approach. So we all know that youngsters, they listen more to other youngsters than to teachers or to parents. So in one school, the 18 years olds, they helped the younger ones and they worked together. So this is a way of working which is very good. Then give different tasks to small groups. If you have, for example, a class of 25, it's impossible to work together with 25, so then you can make a list of the different tasks. Somebody is going to look after the publicity, somebody is going to work out this and that, and you can divide them in small groups, and then they can choose also tasks they like. And then use the skills of the pupils, of course, like this in the school with the policemen. They have the skill of carpentry, so they made this out of wood, and a car out of wood with a light on it. So this was a skill which was very nice to use, of course. There are also some barriers to work with secondary schools. First of all, schools get very many requests for projects, so there it's important to stress the benefit. Why should they do this project and not another one? So the benefit is important, and also that they have a coach that come to the school and help them work it out. So this is also they like that very much. So the first 2 years were done by consultancy bureau, and the last year I did it with my own guidance. Of course, it's easier for me to guide a school because I'm a citizen of the city of Ghent. I know the schools, I know all the streets, so it's more difficult. It was more difficult for the bureau because they came from another city and they couldn't go that often to the school. Another barrier I encountered was age and language of pupils. In 2 schools I worked with 12-year-olds, and that was not so easy. They were very young to find, to make a campaign themselves. And also language of pupils can be a barrier, so you should really fit your approach to the pupils. For example, in the school where you see the picture, the winners, there were a lot of nationalities in this school, and instead of using a traditional PowerPoint presentation, I used a photo quiz. So I took photos in Ghent, and then I talked about these photos with these pupils, and that was much easier than a traditional PowerPoint presentation. They won with a project. They made a kind of foot map they called it. So these pupils, they counted how many steps they did with a step counter from their home to the school. Also they with a clock watch and with a watch. In small groups they did this, and then they made this map, which you can see on the PowerPoint presentation. And now they can see that from their home to the school it's only, for example, 10 minutes walk. So most of these children come by tram, but if the tram is full or if there's some problems with the tram, now they know that they should go on foot and that it's not that far away. And this map is been enlarged and hangs now in the school when you come in. And all students that start at the school also get one of these maps. And also when a pupil comes too late and says, for example, to the secretary, the tram was full, or I couldn't, the tram was too late, then the secretary can look on the map, where do you come from, and then you can see, oh, it's only 10 minutes walk, so you could have been in time if you went on foot. So this is also the benefit for the school. So this was in short. I know it's very short to explain all this, but if somebody is interested, I can give more further information on mail or on telephone, and you can ask questions now.
Okay, thank you, Sabine. Any questions for Sabine? You can raise your hand or type in your question.
Hi,
Okay.
my name is Kau Sarov, and I'm from Estonia. And I wanted to ask from Sabine that have you used maps for the pupils, where pupils can mark their way to school and to use this as a part of the school travel plan, so that children would mark which kind of transport they are using and how long is the distance, for example. Thank you.
If I understand good, so you ask how they use the map. Well, the map.
It's more that have you thought about this idea, or what do you think about such idea?
Well, the idea of the students, they made this map for their school.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not my idea. They made it because all of these students come by school on tram. And we did, in the first brainstorm, we discussed about what were the advantages and disadvantages of the tram. And they had an enormous list of disadvantages. They didn't like it at all to take the tram. So then we discussed what other ways are there to come to school. So they could also go on foot because it was not that far. And therefore the teacher and the students together, they thought about making this, this walking map, in fact. And of course it has a benefit for the school, for example, because now the school can say if you're too late, they can look on the map and see that you're only 10 minutes away on walking distance from the school, so you don't have any excuse to come too late. That's a benefit for the school, of course. Not for the students didn't like that so much, but
yeah. But the second question was that did you manage to get these ideas of students and proposals of students to the local municipality or to the tram company, and did they change anything?
Well, here there was no problem with the tram company. In some schools, the students made a kind of investigation around the school. What were the problems? And then these problems were investigated in the municipality. So to look if something, if any hard measures could be installed to make it safer. So the ideas all came from the students themselves. Most of the ideas were more educational, but in some areas they proposed some hard measures, and then it was investigated in the municipality and the mobility company where I work to look if we could change the environment or make it better.
Yes, I think this is a very nice example of how a soft measure of education and sensitizing of pupils can actually lead to infrastructure improvements too. I'm also very happy to announce that we actually have a whole classroom of children listening into this webinar from near Glasgow in Scotland. And one of the pupils, named Hannah, would like to know, Sabine, what you enjoy most about your job working with the schools.
Well, I like to have contact with teachers and teenagers. In the beginning, I was a bit afraid of, well, afraid, I cannot say afraid, but I had to get used to teenagers, but it's very surprising to work with teenagers. For example, in the hotel school, I had to be there for a brainstorm on Monday morning, 8:15. So I was thinking, oh, they will all be asleep because after the weekend they will be very tired. But they were really very, very active. And there also the item came up about the old people on the bus. In the beginning I was a bit shocked about how the way they said, they talked about this item. But in the end it was a very, very nice project. And I know that lots of these teenagers of this classroom were happy to have been working about this item.
Okay, thank you. I'm afraid it's time to move on to our next presenter. There have been some more questions, but we will refer them to Sabine. And Sabine, you can type your answer in the questions box and send a reply to all. And so everyone can see the questions and Sabine's answer. I'm also very happy to see that some more people have joined us in the meanwhile. So welcome everybody, and I hope that you can still get inspired by the remainder of our presentations. We had skipped the presentation from Untitled Chapter because of internet problems, but in the meanwhile Katarina was able to join us. So I will now give the floor to Katarina.
Hello. I'm happy that I'm finally here. I'm sorry I had some problems with the internet, but now it seems to be all right. Yeah. So my presentation is about actually 3 groups of measures that we did to improve safety at schools in Ústí nad Labem. So a little bit of the background objectives. We have intensive motor traffic in the city. We have lots of accidents caused by traffic, and traffic is also intensive by schools and in residential areas. So what were the objectives for improvements? We wanted to improve safety of vulnerable road users, especially children in the city, improve environment by local schools, and encourage greater take-up of walking and cycling to and from schools. And we wanted to increase awareness about road safety issues in the city and to initiate safer traffic behavior. The main challenges were that the traffic accidents, as I already said, involve vulnerable road users, and they often have serious consequences. That motor traffic is intensive in city parts with many pedestrians and also children, and we have lack of traffic calming elements, but also low budget for improvements. So it was necessary to set priorities and apply soft measures to improve the situation immediately. So they were basically 3 groups of measures that we implemented. One was safety improvements based on road safety audit, and so it resulted in traffic calming measures. The second group was traffic education of children and also of adults, of drivers. And the third was a campaign to raise awareness about road safety issues in the city. So the first the first group of measures, safety improvements. They were based first of all on discussions with school directors, that we contacted them and we asked them about what they think are the most required improvements in schools and the surroundings. What are the critical locations, where are many children, the main flow of children, what are the main safety risks which needs to be looked at, and so on. So this was the first data that we gathered from schools. Then we engaged transport experts and we performed safety inspections at each school. We revealed what were the main safety deficits, where were the dangerous locations and localities with intensive flow of children. And we also used data from studies. We also realized our own traffic measurements, and we used data from police records. We did analysis of traffic accidents, and based on these data, we set priorities for implementation and designed specific traffic calming and safety measures which need to be applied. The second group of measures were the campaigns. So we did realize several events in the streets of the city, in the city centers, and in the public areas with many people. We realized educational games, competitions for children with quizzes and prizes. We also realized practical trials. We were distributing safety gadgets, and we were informing about the main safety issues and safe behavior. We realized also workshops with students at the local university and at local high schools. We were distributing educational materials. We were discussing with the students the main issues of traffic, of safe behavior on roads. We also organized one large conference about safety issues, and we also engaged local media, local website, local TV, city website, radio, newspapers. We produced brochures, leaflets, and so on. Here are some pictures from the campaigns that we did. You can see that we simulated rescue actions, and we were presenting evacuation of traffic accidents victims. We are practicing first aid, and we were trying to show mainly drivers what to be careful about and how to behave safer, especially in sensitive localities such as schools in the city. And the first group of measures was the traffic education. There is a traffic court in the city which is operated by the municipal police, and we equipped this traffic court with new equipment, also with mobile equipment, which allowed the traffic court to be mobile, to be able to reach also children in distant areas, not only in the city center where the traffic court is located, but also in distant schools in neighborhoods. And we provided some safety gears and some new equipment which is making the traffic education more entertaining. We provided new studying materials, graphical learning brochures, and so on. And as a result, now we have all 4th grade students engaged in traffic education. We achieved reduction of traffic speed at schools and at preschool facilities. We applied traffic calming elements at the most critical locations, and at other locations it was included in the Sustainable Urban Transport Plan for future implementation. We established new pedestrian and residential zones where it was most needed. We improved awareness about road safety issues, and we also launched a new city website which is dedicated to road safety issues. What were the main factors for success? For us it was important to apply really a broad set of tools and a combination of soft measures, because we had a small budget, but we needed the impact to be as big as possible. So it was important to apply these broad tools. Then also to address specific issues by specific countermeasures. This was realized through the gathering data from different sources and analysis that I was talking about at the beginning. It was important to engage potential users. We worked primarily with school directors and with children, but also parents and teachers are important in the process development. Also, it was important to set priorities for implementation according to the urgency of the need and impact of safety improvements. It was also important to keep city authorities well informed and involved in the measures, and of course monitoring and evaluation of implemented measures is important for future improvements and implementation of future proposed measures. So that was briefly the main what I wanted to tell you about safety improvements in the city, but there is much more, so I can provide more information if you send me an email or contact the municipality.
Okay, thank you, Katarina. So are there any questions for Katarina? I saw that there were some very nice pictures in the presentation, so I'm sure that you drew a lot of press attention with your actions. Is that right, Katarina?
Yes, we were trying to involve the local media. Really, they were working really nicely with us, because it was an important issue for local people. So they were happy to work with us. The newspapers, also local television and the radio. So it was really a nice cooperation.
Okay. In the meanwhile, there is a question for you from Lee Davies, who asks, how important was it to coordinate the activities to ensure maximum benefits of the elements?
Yes, like basically all of these three groups of measures, they were implemented more or less at the same time, but we were trying to apply really to address the issue from different sides. So actually they were all going on more or less at the same time. So it was necessary to coordinate them very well, but we had quite small but a nice working team working on CIVITAS, and I think the cooperation went well. Also, we were cooperating with local police and municipality employees, but I think the cooperation went well.
Okay. Any other questions for Katarina? No? Okay, if you come up with any other questions, just type them in and Katarina will answer them. Then we will move to our last but not least presentation, made by Vita Kontic of the city of Ljubljana, and she will talk about the Safe Routes to Schools project. floor is yours. Vita? Okay, Vita, we do not hear you yet. Vita, we still don't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, yes?
Oh, okay. So hello everybody again. I said that already, but as you couldn't hear me, I repeat, so I hope you can hear me well now. My name is Vita Kontic. I was a site dissemination manager in the city of Ljubljana in the project Civitas Elan. But now that the project has ended, I joined the public relations department in the city of Ljubljana. So I'm continuing my work in awareness raising campaigns and communication. So I will now present one of the measures in Civitas Elan, Safe Routes to Schools. As I'm not the measure leader, I have, let's say, the majority of information, but later if you have any technical questions, of course I can appoint you to our measure leader to answer questions, or if I have the answer, I will give it to you. So let me first try. Okay. Let me first say that our general objective in the city of Ljubljana is to raise quality of life for all citizens, and since the children are the weakest participants, they need special care and special attention. So the activities aimed at this focus group are quite large, and throughout the whole year we have several campaigns, measures already besides Civitas Elan. So Civitas Elan was kind of an upgrade of existing activities for safer school surroundings in Ljubljana. We targeted all schools in the city. This is 49 elementary schools and 4 special educational institutions, altogether more than 20,000 elementary pupils. So it's quite a large number to target. So we hope we reach them all through teachers, through traffic mentors, through their parents, and through all events and campaigns that we carried out. The main objectives of the measure were, of course, to achieve zero objective. That means elimination of dead and severely injured children on the way to school and home. And to ensure safety. This goes hand in hand, of course, but we try to implement some measures that would help us achieve that. One of them is Safe Routes to Schools web portal, which I will show later, and the printed plans or maps of school surroundings. They were introduced to parents and teachers in the framework of Civitas Elan and constantly updated every year, every beginning of the school year, and of course, because web portal is a live tool, you have to update it as soon as possible. You know, whenever you get new information, you insert it in the web portal, and this is how all information is up to date and accurate at every moment. And of course, since it's a web portal, it's always accessible and everyone can take a look at it. The other measure was to invite volunteers to participate in constant traffic safety. So they were educated, volunteers, citizens of Ljubljana, or whoever wanted to participate, they were invited to become traffic wardens, to be on the in the vicinity of schools, to help children cross the street, or just to advise them how to come to school safely. Then of course we had some infrastructure measures. This means bumps, lightnings, signalizations, new traffic signs to really alert all traffic participants about the school being nearby and children running around. So the key questions or challenges were first to identify what is the status quo. Where are we? Do we have all the data? Are our roads safe or not? Where are the dangerous spots? So these things had to be identified first before we could do our measures. Then we had to find out if we have the access to data, because the police has the data on traffic accidents, but is this in line with what we need for this measure? Then of course the main questions was how to reach the zero objective. As I mentioned, there were a lot of pupils involved, so this is kind of a question, a broader question also about traffic culture and mobilizing everyone that is participating into this. So it's quite a difficult task, I must say. One of the questions was how to enhance communication among key stakeholders. We have parents, teachers, mentors, we have the city of Ljubljana, the administration, politicians, we have citizens, traffic participation, so the group is really large. One of the measures, as I mentioned, was to include volunteers into traffic warden service, but the question was how to motivate them, how to get them to participate. You know, maybe they don't have time, they don't have finance, they don't know how to do it or something. So this was something, an issue to solve. Then we had a question of updating the web portal. Are the teachers capable of updating those information? I will try to answer those questions in this presentation, but of course it's too short to answer them all. So I will just move on to tell you what we actually did. First, we did a survey on safe routes to schools and travel behavior to monitor how they come to school, how would they like to come to school, do parents think that the surroundings of schools are safe or not, where are the dangerous spots, all these questions. Do they know the portal, do they use it? These things had to be monitored, and more than 1,800 people were involved in this survey, so the data is quite useful. As I mentioned, we upgraded our activities in Ljubljana with many outreach campaigns throughout the whole year. The most intensive, of course, was in September when the school year begins. The 14 days, this was really with posters, gadgets, communication through media, television, everything. We used everything that we could to promote that the school started and people should be more careful on the street. Similar actions, of course, were throughout the whole year. The European Mobility Week, we had traffic days in school, we have bicycle license courses and so on. So this is a really ongoing campaign. Then I mentioned the web portal. This is really interactive. It presents the schools, kindergartens, and routes to schools. And you have green routes that show safe routes, and then you have, let's say, dangerous spots, and also with this description what is dangerous on those spots. So I will show it later, as I mentioned. Then considering the infrastructure, we had radars showing like people driving too fast, they should slow down. We have street signalization. We have signs, speed limit signs, speed bumps, and this is all in 160 locations throughout Ljubljana. This was not only, of course, in Civitas Elan, it's a comprehensive campaign, but of course Civitas Elan helped. We had many trainings and workshops for those key stakeholders I mentioned earlier, and of course numerous individual meetings with parents, mentors, to explain really how these things work, the web portal, what are we doing for safer school surroundings. And of course there are other communication, informational activities. You will see the photos later about how many children we involved to really offer them information, and of course to have fun with it and to get to know all the issues considering traffic safety. So as I mentioned, a really good cooperation cooperation was established between the stakeholders. The departments of City of Ljubljana were really cooperative. Department of Preschool Education and Schooling and Traffic Departments. We have our City Council for Prevention and Education in Road Traffic. They were really active. I have to praise them. And of course, non-governmental organizations and volunteers, they all wanted to participate. At the events, at the workshops, demonstrations, and everything. So we could measure the acceptance of these safety measures. It has increased by 14%, and we could monitor the decrease of average speed in the vicinity of schools. So this is really a plus. But one thing we couldn't measure is our, let's say, key objective is the zero objective, because we didn't have enough statistically large sample that we could monitor this. Because I mean, it's in one way good that we didn't have, because this means that we didn't have many accidents. You know, we had, let's say, one accident where there were a child was hurt, and then the next year you had maybe 2 accidents or no accidents. So the sample was really too small to identify and to compare data and to see whether the target levels were reached or not. So this is something we couldn't say we achieved. You can see a number of pictures of our events for children, artistic workshops with the helmets and the first aid. And this one, the left picture on the upper corner, it's the Safe portal. We also made the posters, printed posters, and we displayed them in every school. So every school had a map of where their safe school surroundings are, and they could have a look at it if they didn't have internet or used the web portal. One of the schools, you can see this circle here in the middle, also decide to by their own hand make a circular, how do you call it, like a crossroad, but it's circular. So they really engaged themselves to rearrange surrounding of the school to make it safer. In conclusion, I can only say that these activities that I described will continue. So the updating of maps and web portal will continue, because we had the training where we taught the mentors and teachers how to use the web portal, how they can by themselves insert information into the web portal. So this will of course continue. The cooperation, the numerous activities, the outreach campaigns that I mentioned, they are annual campaigns, so we will try to strengthen them to reach a higher number of pupils. And one thing that we will try to do is enhance the activities to include volunteers. We thought we would have a large number of volunteers who could help children cross their street throughout the whole year, but the feedback wasn't so good that we expected, except in the beginning of the school year. The 14 days, we had 50 volunteers helping us with the children, but then it's not so easy to persuade them to contribute throughout the whole year. So this is something we have to work on, and we are having an idea about including mentors also in high schools and in kindergartens, because this would be important. But here is a question of national the legal point of view. In national legislation, some curriculum has to be changed in order to to involve teachers to become mentors. So this is a higher task, but we will keep working on it. And for the end, I can only recommend that stakeholder and citizen engagement engagement is really important, and it should be a priority. You should do it right at the beginning of your measure or project. You should involve everyone you can, because they can really help you develop your measure and to achieve better results. We were lucky to have a motivated measure leading team, as I mentioned, so this was really great because they involved themselves personally and really tried to spread the message around schools. Also, our mayor is very devoted to traffic safety, so he's trying to implement as many measures as he can for greater safety in the surroundings, and of course cooperative city administration. Also important is face-to-face discussion with all your key stakeholders, although it is successful only in small groups. Of course, if you have a large population, it's difficult to engage face-to-face. And as I mentioned, we had maybe a slight difficulty with the data collection, and these things should be checked upfront in order to assure their availability for future. So I guess this is it for my presentation. I have a few nice photos, as you can see, but now I will briefly just show you the web portal. It looks like this.
Okay.
So you have it in Slovene.
Can already start. Sorry. In the meanwhile, people can already
yes, you can start asking questions.
Yeah, just type them in.
Sure.
And you can explain. Yes.
Sure. So this is our portal of education. So you have here the school surroundings, you have ways to school, you have school bus, and you have the orthophoto view. So you can, let's say, we go a little nearer. We want to see, let's say, the route to schools. So we click this, and you get all these little signs. You have legend here. The first one is let me just remove this. Okay, it's elementary school. This one is kindergarten, and this is music school. You have traffic lights, and this is like the sign for dangerous spot. And if you click to one of these signs, let's say, you have a description of this dangerous spot. So this is a narrow street. It's not enough visible. There is no sidewalk at this location. And there is dense traffic or no traffic zebra crossing. So you have these descriptions in different areas. This is also good for the city administration to know where are the dangerous spots, and so they can eliminate them, and also good for parents and pupils to use another road if they want. So you can see here, if you go closer, if you zoom in, you can see these red ones are dangerous streets, so-called dangerous or potentially dangerous, and these are the safe routes to school. So and you have here the names of the schools and how to get around them. So this is briefly a presentation also of this portal, which is constantly upgraded, as I mentioned. So I'm available for your questions.
Okay, any questions for Vita? So someone asked for the web link of the web portal. I already answered that one.
Okay, I saw that.
Questions? So did I understand correctly, Vita, that it's the schools and the teachers and the parents who are updating this information on the web portal?
The teachers in the school, and it can be also city administration. The parents don't do it themselves because it would be too much confusion. Yeah. So the teachers are always available for parents to tell them which spots they identified as potentially dangerous, and they inform the school about it, and then they insert the information.
And I see another question appearing here from Lee Davis, who wants to know, have you found that the schools have been using this portal? For instance, do they include it on their school website? Or how do they use it?
Yes, many schools have them have the link on this web portal on their websites, and there's also the printed version of this portal for exact school in that same school on the billboard, so they can every child that passes this billboard can have a look at it. And there's also, of course, the address of the web portal they can visit. I don't know, at home or in school. So yes. It's available.
Okay. Another question from Paola Bassi. We just made with many schools a participation project before solving the problems of children's safety. The schools with children, parents, teachers and city government make a plan of the critical points of school paths, which will be the reference for subsequent funding. Do you have a similar process? So where schools identify critical points which then will be addressed through funding?
It's not directly linked, but of course our city administration is always open to suggestions. So if we monitor a dangerous spot, let's say on this portal or in some other communication tool, they can also call or have a meeting with the mayor, with the city department, and they can express their concern about some spots. And then when we plan a city budget, we include these infrastructure improvements into the budget. We can, I mean, this is the normal practice, but we also candidate on the European funds and other calls, and try to state, I mean, to include these measures that will be co-funded later. So it works both ways, but of course you can never know if you will get the funding from outside, if your measure will be confirmed, let's say. So it's better to have a city plan improvements on school surroundings when they get the incentive.
Okay, thank you. Then there is another question which is actually a good start of our discussion. What attributes does a safe route have to have? So maybe we can start with Vita. What are your thoughts? What makes a school route safe?
Well, first you have to have a sidewalk for pedestrians. Some areas, maybe a little outside of Ljubljana, that recently evolved, don't have the appropriate infrastructure. So you have to develop as you go around schools, but all school surroundings mainly have all the necessary infrastructure. So the sidewalks, the zebra crossing, the humps are really useful, let's say, for the other traffic participants to slow down. The special lights to enlighten them. You have road signalization. We have nearby every schools. We have written school on the street. Actually, we have signs saying beware children on the street, or you are near a school, so be careful. That kind of signs. We have these radars telling to slow down, or you are driving too fast, please slow down. We had installed these radars, speed radars, to lower the speed in that area. So we have to say that all these measures combined, of course, with then communication and all the promotion and the engagement of everyone is also helpful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Vita. There are some more questions. Vita, you can answer them by typing in the questions box. Does someone have anything to add to the things that Vita mentioned as necessary attributes for a safe route? You can either raise your hand or type in the questions box. What makes a safe route to school safe? Okay, I don't immediately see any more reactions appearing. So let's move to the discussion now. You probably have all seen, oh yeah, okay, I see one more remark here, education for children and parents. Well, actually, now we come into one of the homework questions that I sent to you. And I have created a little poll to see what you think is most important to make school areas safe. So everyone except for speakers can vote, so you can select any of the answers you see on your screen. You can select more than one answer for this one. So I will be very interested to see what you think is most important. I see the votes coming in. Okay. There are still some people voting. Okay, so I'm closing the poll now, and we're going to have a look what you think is most important. And we see that safe infrastructure is the most important according to you, but still education and awareness raising of pupils, but also of parents is still very, very important. And I think that's a lesson which was addressed in much of the presentations, that a combination of hard and soft measures actually reinforce each other. I've had some people emailing me before the webinar started with someone from Granada saying, well, infrastructure is absolutely necessary because otherwise parents and teachers just don't trust the promises of the city that things will be safer, and they need to see with their own eyes that changes in dangerous streets have been done before you can ask them to change their behavior. While other people say, well, first you need to raise awareness on safety, and then you have to reinforce that awareness with safe infrastructure. Does any one of you have any thoughts on that? Feel free to raise your hand or type any comments. If not, we will move to the next poll. Okay. Okay, here's another one that doesn't immediately come in the homework questions. So the question is, do cars belong in school surroundings at the moments when people come and drop off their children or pick them up? So this time there's only one answer. Oh no, this one has multiple answers too, I think. So you can say no, either school surroundings should be completely car-free, and maybe we can advise parents who want to come by car to park a little bit further off and then come walking to school. Or maybe cars can be allowed in the school surroundings, but people should really be motivated to walk or cycle. Or maybe you say, okay, we can allow cars, but there have to be very good arrangements for parking. There can be a kiss and ride zone, or very clear arrangements for where to park and where not. Or maybe you say, well, you just cannot interfere with parents' car use. They might combine their work with picking up the children or coming to get them. I think you all voted, so let's have a look at the results. Okay, I see that a lot of people are in favor of making the school surroundings car-free. Don't you think that this will generate a lot of how shall I say it, resistance from parents? Does anyone have any thoughts on that? Yeah, I have a comment from Claire Lohman who says, yes, but it is a cultural change and it will take time. So actually that's an experience that I have too in working with schools, that changing people's behavior at the school surroundings is a work that takes a lot of time, and teachers sometimes almost want to give up because they say it's too hard to change, because you just have to keep telling the parents well, not to drive their cars into the schools, as a matter of speaking. And we have a comment from Lee Davis saying that teachers should also be leading the way by parking away or walking and cycling to school. So teachers definitely have an exemplary role. And he also says it's a great result for car-free, but it will be difficult to implement. But Lee Davis also says, as a parent myself, I feel we need to take a stance. I think that's a nice message. Okay, we have a raised hand for Rosemary Haggerty. Rosemary, you have something to add? We cannot hear you, so maybe you have to unmute yourself. Rosemary, are you there? No, that doesn't seem to work. Okay, let's go to the next poll then. There we go. So this question is, does your city involve teachers and parents? So maybe you work for a city, then it's easy to answer, but also if you're working in a school or you have children in school, you might know. Okay, let's have a look. Last votes are coming in. Still votes coming in. Okay, last votes before I close the poll. There we go. So, let's see. So the majority says that that their city involves teachers and schools often. And I think this gives a pretty good view, although there are still quite some, 9% who say never, or 21% very rarely. So maybe there's still much to learn. Are there any questions or comments on that? Let's see. No, not directly. Well, let's go to the next question then, because it's very close to this one. Should cities involve schools? You can choose either they should work closely together, or there should be one-way communication. Cities should only inform schools and ask for their input on what they need, what are the difficult points on school routes. Or cities should just inform schools, we're going to change this point, we're going to do works in your school surroundings, and that's it. Or do you say, well, involving schools is just too complicated? So let's have your votes. Okay, most of you have voted already. And you will find this one very interesting. A very clear message. Yes, they should work very closely together. But maybe I will go back to our presenters now and ask them if they had any difficulties with involving teachers. So I think what we already heard was schools have a lot of projects already. So it's difficult to ask them to do more. Does any of the presenters have any thought on that? So let's unmute our presenters. Okay, any thoughts from our presenters? Is it difficult for a city to involve schools or teachers?
Can I say something, Sabine?
Yes, Sabine, go ahead.
I think you just have to convince them of the benefit. If they see a benefit in it, yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts from the other speakers?
From the Szczecinek, from the Poland side, I would say that we had no difficulties. We found no difficulties in involving schools, as municipality of Szczecinek is responsible for some sort of schools, and another local government is responsible for another schools, higher schools. So how can I say, they're forced by us to discuss with us. But I did not find any difficulties during the discussion. They were interested in increasing the safety for our schools. No problems from Szczecinek.
Mm-hmm. But I guess that's is very similar to what Sabine says. You have to convince them of a benefit, and I can imagine in some cities where there are still a real need is perceived for more traffic safety. That already is a benefit for schools if they are involved by the municipality. And as Sabine said earlier in one of her answers to the questions, in Ghent already a lot had been done on infrastructure, and maybe then it's more difficult to involve the schools because they don't perceive a very direct need to work on the topic. We also had some comments from Lee Davies again. Thank you very much for your active participation. In Sefton, UK, we do seek to involve schools, and indeed we are called in by schools to look at their concerns. We also seek to add value when capital school improvement schemes are being implemented. we seek to work with schools closely, but we do have limited staff time. We have a support package available to assist schools to update their school travel plans. So I guess that's maybe another difficulty, especially if you have a lot of schools in your municipality. You will have to have the time to give them the necessary support and the resources to free your staff to work with them. But then again, then there's CIVITAS who can give you the budget to do so. And we also have a comment from Claire Lohman, who says schools know their communities really well, so their advice on travel schemes is essential. But judging on the last poll, I think most of you agree. So we are a little over time. I want to give you a last opportunity to share your thoughts with us, to ask any questions that you still have. I'm going to ask my colleague Marianne to post the evaluation link one more time in the chat box. So please do not forget to fill out the evaluation. There's one more comment from Elif from Turkey, who says we have many problems on infrastructure. We do not have enough and safe infrastructure, not only for children but for everybody. So yeah, I guess in that case it's very interesting to have your cities actively working on the subject and involving schools. So Elif, I hope that this webinar has given you some ideas for your country. So if that's all, someone asks, is it possible to download the recorded webinar in order to use it for later reference? The answer is very simple. Yes, it is possible. So we are recording the webinar right now, and let's say by next week, you will find the link to the recording on the CIVITAS website. I am going to show you the CIVITAS website. Hang on. Okay. I don't know. Are you able to see? Yes. There we go. So on the events page, let's refresh this one. You will be able to find the link to the recording. And as you can see, presentations have already been put online, so you can go and have a look at them. So if there aren't any other questions, I'm still available through email. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much in advance for filling out the evaluation. And I hope you all had a lot of inspiration from this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.